Christine Pauls, you're up next.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Christine Pauls. I am an author from Wilmington, Delaware, and a member of NK Tribe Called Success.
Woohoo! Go
I'm
Tribe.
happy to be here. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I actually had a little bit of a fangirl moment myself, Stephanie. I was fine when I knew I was going to chat with Reese, but then later on today, I was like, oh my God, I'm really going to speak to Reese Ryan. You know, I was excited about that. So I am honored and I'm happy to host Reese Ryan, and I'm going to read her bio. Award-winning author Reese Ryan writes sexy, emotional love stories with family drama and unexpected twists. The author of the Bourbon Brothers and Pleasure Cove series is the recipient of the 2018 Donna Hill Breakout Author Award, a panelist at the 2017 Los Angeles Times Festival of Books, and past president of her Romance Writers of America chapter. I'd like to welcome Reese Ryan. It's nice to see you, Reese. Welcome to the Cavalcade.
It's nice to see you as well. Thank you so much.
And if you would like to add any more to your bio, do you have any more you want to tell us about yourself?
You covered it well enough. Only the other thing I would say is that I'm a native Ohioan and lived there most of my life, but I've been living here in Central North Carolina for about 11 years. And I am a mama and a grandma.
Okay. So am I. I have 3 grandkids.
Yes. They're downstairs right now making noise.
Yeah. So Reese is going to be chatting with us today. So if the tribe has any questions, or if any of the readers out there have any questions, please post them in the chat and we'll try to get to a few questions. I'm going to start out with the question. My first question is, how did your writing journey begin and why romance?
I have always loved stories. I learned to read very young and just was a huge lover of stories and reading and stuff. Read as much as I could as a kid. And then the book that made me want to go from being a consumer of stories to a storyteller was Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. It took you through this gamut of emotions. You know, you loved the characters, you hated the characters, you wanted to choke the characters, you cried, and it made me want to become a storyteller. So that's the thing that made me start writing. And so even in like junior high school, I started writing. And, life got in the way. Many, many years passed, and it wasn't until much later that I was encouraged by somebody to start writing again. And so I did that. And so in 2013 was when my first story was published by a Korean press. I've been with different lines in Harlequin for some time. So 2013 was my debut. And I've written for Korean press. At the time it was digital first. And then I moved over to Kamani, and then I moved to Desire, and I've been theirs. And now I am going to be writing as well. I'm still staying with Harlequin, but I'll be joining, I have joined Grand Central Forever as well. So my first publication with them will come out later in December.
Okay, great. Another question that I have is about your podcast. The story behind the story. Mm-hmm. I like the title too of the podcast.
Thank you.
When did you create that, and what type of platform is that? Of course, it's about books, of course, but what do you do on your podcast?
So on Story Behind the Story it's where romance readers and authors connect. And so we always have reader-centered author discussions. So I interview other authors either one-on-one or as a panel. But we usually, it's not just, okay, you come on and you promote your book. we'll get to the book, we'll talk about the book, but we usually talk about some bigger topic, whether it be the fact that we want to see more romances with older heroines, or maybe somebody will talk about writing, sex scenes that are, emotional as well as hot, just it'll be some other topic that they'll talk about, but it's very interactive between the readers and the authors. So that's what's made it so fun for me, is that it's a place where we can just go and talk about books, and it's a place that features romance romance authors and readers. And so we just have all kinds of great discussions. So this past week, I got a chance to talk to Miss Brenda Jackson, and she was amazing. And people are still talking about that, about how amazing she was and all the knowledge she laid down. So that's how that happened. And how it started is, for a long time, I've been wanting to do either a podcast or a vlog. And so I'm lazy and I'm really busy. And so I didn't want to do something that was going to require a ton of editing. That's what made me decide to do the live stream. So, and I'm nosy, so that's why the story behind the story. Usually there's I want to know the behind the scenes, and so the readers. And so we get a chance to, like, for instance, with Brenda Jackson this week, she gave us a lot of behind the scenes tea. And so that's how we, so in addition to behind the scenes about whatever, usually the person's book as well, we get to know the author a little bit better, and we get to know the story behind the story that they've written. We get a chance to find out more about the characters and how they came up with it and things like that. So it's just been really fun, really interactive for the readers and stuff. And so I've been loving it. And so far it's been getting a really good reception as well. And the platform it's on YouTube.
Okay. I'm going to ask one more question, then I'll see if any of the tribe members have any questions. Have you written in other genres under a pen name?
I have not. But it's funny you asked that, because I definitely do have plans to write in other genres or subgenres. So for instance, there's a historical idea that I've been sitting on for about 5-6 years that I really, really want to do. I probably will do that in my same name. And I want to do a romantic thriller series that I've been sitting on for about the same amount of time. Also plan to do that in my name. I have some other ideas about stuff that I might do in a pen name. So yeah, so that there is that's out there, but it's just, I've been so busy with the contemporary romance stuff. And and I'm sorry too, you asked me earlier about why romance, and I did not answer that question. And the funny story for that for me is I don't have a cool story about how I read my mother's romances, when I was a kid. So many romance authors tell me, they read there when they were 10, they were sneaking in, I don't have stories like that. My mother didn't read romance. But I was a huge reader. And when I started reading again for pleasure as an adult, because before that it was just like all either religious reading or it was like work related. And so I was a huge into chick lit. So I was reading a ton of chick lit. And the first story I wrote, wrote it as chick lit or whatever. And I was in a writer's critique group. And it was all different genres were represented. Nobody was writing romance. I didn't think I was writing romance. And so as the group whittled down, it was just me and these 3 old dudes. And at one point when I finished my story, they loved the story, but they were like, okay, are you gonna submit it to romance publishers? And I'm like, why would I do that? So I didn't really realize, or didn't think of it as romance. I was thinking of it as chick lit. And that's what opened my eyes to that. So that's when I started to really, really read romance. And that was maybe 8 to 10 years ago that I really, really started to read romance. So I am a late bloomer when it comes to romance. But once I started reading, I absolutely loved it. And I knew all the stories I told were going to have a central love story. So it was a good fit.
Yeah. Well, I used to read Danielle Steele when I was a teenager. I used to kind of sneak the books home and read those. I never really got into romance at all, but women's fiction, I really found that was something that I really enjoy writing more than anything, So not that I've tried other genres, but I do enjoy women's fiction. I think there's a question in the chat room from, I'll take my glasses off.
I hear you. I got mine sitting here too.
From, is that Celia Book Club. Is that a book club?
Oh,
It
hey, Priscilla.
says, yeah, okay. It says, who would you like to collaborate with?
Ooh, oh, so many people. Let me see. I would love to do something. Ooh, with it. It's a bunch of people. Let me see. Okay, Delaney Diamond, Rochelle Ehlers, Brenda Jackson. Who else would I love to do something with? Some of the contemporary folks who I love, like Elle Wright and Sherelle Green. You know, I would love to do some. I mean, I've done like projects with some of them, but I would love to do something this highly collaborative with any of them. Love them to death.
Okay.
And my dream on top of Brenda Jackson will be Pearl Cleage.
Oh yes. One of my favorite authors. Yes.
Love her.
Michelle Sims is asking a question. What was your process in writing for the Cattlemen series?
Oh, okay. So the Texas Cattlemen's Club is a continuity series. So it's a long running series. It's been running for 20 years. And so what they do is they have these, every, I don't know, it's usually anywhere between 6 to 9 books in the mini series. So they have a new mini series come out with the 6 to 9 books by different authors. And then as soon as that mini series is done, they'll do another one. And they'll usually, most of them are set in fictional town called Royal, Texas, but some of them are other places. And so I was privileged to get a chance to participate in 3 of them so far. And so it's a really cool process, but it confounds readers how we can do this, because basically there's an overall arching story, and then we have the individual stories to go in it, and they need to be connected, and they need to feel like they all match. Like this person did this, and if a character goes across books, you don't want them to have different personality in every book. So, but how the process goes is that the publisher creates a story Bible. And so they basically give you, okay, here's the things that need to happen in this story. And so when I was first approached about it, I'm thinking, I can't tell somebody else's story. I'm writing somebody else's book. I can't do that. But when I really got down to it, I realized that yes, there's these parameters that have to happen, but then you get a lot of freedom in terms of what you bring to the person's personality and little side characters and background and stuff you can do. That really gives it a lot of life, and it makes it your own book. So what I found out is that if 5 different authors got that same parameters, you get 5 different stories. And so, but in order to keep everything, matching, we do work together closely. So usually there's like a Yahoo loop or a Facebook group or whatever. And I'm a person who really needs to dig in and understand what's happening. So I'll ask crazy questions on there, like, does your character have a signature lipstick color, or does she have a chauffeur or whatever? And I just like, do you have any background information on this character? And everybody was like, no, on this one. I'm like, okay, I'll tell you what. Her husband was a football player, and he left her for a former childhood star, who's now a pop singer. I need to know these things. So I had the freedom to create that kind of thing, and I did. And so just the key is consistency. So once I created that, everybody else was like, cool, that's what we used. So it's a fun process. You get to know other authors and stuff. You have some limits and parameters, but you have a lot of freedom to do a lot of things as well. So, and it is an invitation only thing. So, they invite authors to do it. So, but it's lots of fun if you get a chance to.
Okay, we're gonna wind down, but what advice would you give to aspiring authors?
The biggest advice two things I would say biggest is read a lot. Nothing miffs me more than people who are like, I'm gonna make some money, so I'm gonna write a romance. They've never read romance, they don't care about it, they don't have respect for it, whatever. And so if you're gonna write something, especially in a particular genre, read that genre widely. Don't just read that genre, because other genres can inform, how you write as well. But read widely, read a lot. And then also continue to try to get better. So there are so many opportunities out there, economical opportunities to learn to become a better storyteller. And RWA, that is one thing I can definitely, absolutely say, is that it helped me become a better writer. It's because there's so many different chapters out there, and they have classes for like $30 or $50 where you can learn from, people who are top of the game in their genres. And so it's a great way to learn to improve the craft, as well as all the different books that are out there. So those are the two things I would say: read a lot and be willing to study and learn and continue to improve.
Awesome.
Okay. How can the readers connect with you?
Easiest way is to go to reeseryan.com. That's Reese, R-E-E-S as in Sam, E-R-Y-A-N.com. And from there, you can get everything else. You can find the podcast. You can find my private readers group on Facebook, where we invite other authors to come and visit us and stuff all the time. And things like that. And then I always tell you about, free books that are out there, as well as giveaways and stuff like that. So that would be the easiest way, is to connect with me on reeseryan.com. And then you can find me all my other places like Twitter and Instagram.
Okay. And I did want to make note that I did notice you have a new release coming out in December.
I do. That's going to be my first book in my Holly Grove Island series, my first book with Grand Central Forever. And it is a steamy small town romance set in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So I'm super excited about that. That book is about a rising star New York reporter who unwittingly gets caught up in a scandal, loses her job, and has to go back to her small town, where she finds out about secrets from the past and tries to avoid the man who broke her heart years ago. So I'm super excited about that. It's called Second Chance on Cypress Lane. And just this weekend, Grand Central put it up for a read now on NetGalley. So if you are a NetGalley reviewer, you can go on to NetGalley and request my book, Second Chance on Cypress Lane, this weekend only, for read now, even though it doesn't come out to December.
All right. Well, Reese, we want to thank you for being here with us this evening. It was a pleasure. I had a great time talking to you.
Thank you, Christine. It's a pleasure talking to you as well.
You're welcome. Yep.
Yes, indeed. So Reese, you can stay. I think you were here a little bit before yours, so you got to hear everybody else. I can keep you here for a minute, or you can go in the backyard for a little bit and watch everybody else. It's up to you. That link you can even jump in tomorrow if you want to. So that link is good.
Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye now.
Bye, Reese. Oh, that was fun.
Yes, it was. So let me put this
Okay.
on the screen.
Okay.
Hold on for a second. Let me put this on the screen. That's one of your books, and how everybody can get in touch with you. So we're going to chat with you. Are you going to do a little reading, or how would you like to?
I was going to read a little bit from my latest release, but I did want to introduce myself, because I'm sure it's a lot of people out there that don't know me. And there are some that do. I'm Christine Pauls from Wilmington, Delaware. I am the author of, I believe I have 5 published works. I published my first book in 2012. I met Nelena Kai. I felt like I met her on Facebook in 2014, but I attended the 2015 Cavalcade of Authors. That was my first time meeting her face to face. And that was my first major literary event. And I was scared out of my mind. I tell you that right now. And I don't know how many times I was talked off the ledge because I had to speak in front of people, but it was the best experience I ever had. I am the mother of 2, 3 grandkids. I'm an accountant by day in the banking industry. And and I write. So I'm going to read a little bit from my latest release, Never Too Late. And Never Too Late started out as actually a short story, and that wasn't the title of it, but it's about a military son who um, pairs his mother, 51-year-old Raylene Thompson, pairs his mother up with his superior, Lieutenant Gregory Banks. He kind of, he meets his mother for dinner, but little does she know he's bringing the lieutenant to meet his mother, who is a divorcee. So they connect, they click, sparks fly. You know, in the short story, when I initially wrote it, they went out on a first date, and I expanded on the story. And this is chapter 6, where this is the day after the first date. How did the date go with Lieutenant? Andre kissed his mother on the cheek, then dragged himself straight to the coffee maker. He pulled the large army mug from the cabinet and poured the hot fluid, topping it off with his favorite caramel creamer. Taking a sip, he closed his eyes and savored the sweet taste. Good morning to you too, Raylene smirked. That's the first thing you're going to ask me about? Come on, Mom, give me the 411. Andre yawned, taking a seat at the breakfast bar. It was nice, Raylene said with a smile. She glanced over her shoulder, then turned back to the stove and removed slices of turkey bacon from the pan. Are you serious, Mom? Andre's brows furrowed over his intense eyes. It was nice is all you're going to say? Yes, it was nice. What? You want details? She teased. It'd be good to have a little more information. I got up early just so I could find out, Andre quipped, stretching his 6-foot frame. You're only up because you smell food, so let's keep it real. But for your information, we went rock climbing, then we had dinner. She faced him, one hand on her hip and lips pursed. What else do you want to know? With his elbow on the counter, Andre supported his cheek on one fist. Sorry, Mom, but you're making this difficult. Did you enjoy yourself? Or are you going out again? Andre quizzed. I don't know, Andre. Maybe. She tipped her head to one side as she met his gaze. Why are you giving me the third degree? Andre put down his mug and raised both hands in surrender. I thought you'd be a little more excited. And what's this about rock climbing? He frowned. Raylene ignored her son's interrogation and continued to prepare breakfast. Mom, Andre whined, stretching his body across the counter. Yes, son. Raylene laughed, enjoying her son's theatrics. Mom. Andre lifted his head, wearing a concerned expression. Did something happen between you and the lieutenant? Do I need to have words with him? Respectfully, that is. Unless he disrespected you. Then I'd have to lay hands on him. Raylene's face softened. No, son, he didn't disrespect me, and no words or laying on of hands will be necessary. We had a good time. Rock climbing was Greg's idea. We're both in rather good physical condition for being a part of Club 50, you know. You know I didn't mean it like that, Andre sighed. Come on, Mom, you're being vague. Will you be seeing him again? Here, eat your breakfast, Andre, please. Raylene ignored the question and handed him a plate full of turkey bacon, potatoes, and toast. He inhaled the aroma and smiled. Thanks, Mom. You're welcome, son. Raylene knew just how to shut him up. Both mother and son were engrossed in their own thoughts. Before long, Andre stopped eating and peered into his mother's eyes. What are you staring at me like that for? Oh, snap. Y'all did the nasty. He fell to the floor, sprawled out, laughing hysterically. What? Raylene yelled, laughing so hard she spewed orange juice across the table. Boy, get up from there and stop clowning around. I'm just kidding, Mom, he said, getting up from the floor, taking his seat. I mean, even if you did, it's none of my business, right? I hope you kids use protection, he coaxed in an inquisitive tone while giving her a side-eyed stare. Raylene playfully shoved his shoulder. If you don't leave me alone, boy. She wasn't going to tell her son anything that happened between her and Greg. Doing the nasty? She wished. That was chapter 6 of Never Too Late. I really enjoyed writing it. I realized that women's fiction is something that I really enjoy doing. Thanks to Lena Kai, she helped me a lot. But this was one of my first short stories, and along with, if you look to the right of my virtual background, you'll see the 3 covers that are similar in colors, and they represent a series, but yet they are all separate stories. Love for Granted, Never Too Late, and The Love You Save. So does anyone have any questions for me in the tribe? I think I got 2 minutes, and then.
Well, how has it been for you as a tribe? Okay, tell your tribe journey. That's going to be interesting for people because yeah, let's get that in. That should do you a little time right there.
Well, in the beginning, I was in the tribe. I mean, I try to like not even think about that anymore, but this is my second time in the tribe. The first time I was in the tribe, I mean, I felt like everything was going pretty good until I forget what anthology. Oh, actually, it was the Sugar and Spice anthology that they were working on, and I don't know when when Nalina Kai started talking about all of the things that were involved in writing and just the fast pace of the tribe and everything that was going on. I bowed out, and I was like, I gave up, so that's a regret because I could have been in the Sugar and Spice anthology, but lesson learned, and I have another opportunity. And so far, I mean, it's been a whirlwind just being a part of the tribe, but I don't think I'd have it any other way because I have people that I can go to, that I can talk to. I mean, we are so connected, that, I mean, I realize I'm not in it by myself, and I wouldn't really go to anybody for anything. So it was easier for me to just say, I quit. But I'm going to tell you, don't ever quit. Newbies, if you're, don't quit. It's hard work. It doesn't get any easier, but I definitely wish I knew then the things that I know now as an author. So yeah, I'm here, and she gave me another chance, and I am determined not to blow this opportunity. So it's been a ride that I will never forget because I've learned so much stuff, and I'm still learning, and writing doesn't come easy for me. Like, I hear stories, I'm not even an outliner. I'm more of a pantser, I just start writing, I got all these different pieces, and I know that's not right. I guess I should outline, but I never have. And so I have to start learning that process, I have a great editor, I appreciate J.L. Campbell. I appreciate London St. Charles, sometimes I talk to London on the phone, and she really helps me out, and Marze, and I know I can come to anybody. So it is, my time is up.
Indeed.
So yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much. And what's your website?
Oh, I'm sorry. My website is www.christinepauls.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, my fan page at Author CP.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I am going to do the little housekeeping thing I need to do right now, which is stop.